The other stock on our radar is Lupin. The company has acquired two diabetes brands for 26 million euros and has also received the US FDA's approval for an inhaler drug with a market size of over $280 million in the US. Further, Lupin has also been in focus since concerns on the approval of Spiriva generic continue. Remember, the target action date for the drug was 17th August. Now, to discuss this, we're joined by Ramesh Swaminathan, the Executive Director, Global CFO and Head Corporate Affairs at Lupin. Mr. Swaminathan, good morning and thanks for being with us on CNBC TV18. First, I want to ask you the latest on the Spiriva generic issue. The target action date was in August of this year. Have you heard from the US FDA at all? If there is a delay, why is it? And is it because of, is the hold-up related to the device manufacturer's inspection? You want to clarify these issues?
Yes, I could certainly talk about it. Even at the beginning of this year, we did talk about the fact that the most important event for this particular year would of course be Spiriva itself. We do have a CRL on that, and that is the reason why we didn't get an approval in August. But having said that, we believe we're still very, very confident that we'll be able to resolve it and potentially get an approval by the end of the fourth quarter. So fourth quarter launch is exactly where we think it would be. And our confidence levels are pretty high at this.
Saying that the launch will go through in all likelihood by the fourth quarter of this fiscal. What are you expecting to make once Spiriva gets an approval? There are estimates that you could be looking at $70 to $100 million per year, assuming around 3 companies sell the drug in the market. Is that a fair assumption?
I think that's a conservative estimate. From our perspective, it could be upward of that. It's a pretty large drug. It's one of the more important drugs from our perspective as well. So our confidence levels comes from the fact that it is actually it's a healthy rate. So we are actually looking at the handy format, and given the kind of run it has in America, we believe we should be able to get a pretty decent market share as well.
Okay, this inhaler market is pretty large, right? What are you expecting? I mean, it has a big market size as well. Can you tell us what will it do to your overall business? How much would it contribute to your revenues? And what could the growth be in, say, FY23 and 24?
So I think I need to put things into perspective. If you look at, in fact, the overall generic market in America, what was a $65 billion market has actually come down in recent times to about $56 billion. That's in gross terms. If you look at the net, what was 35 has come down to about 30 over the last 4 years. A couple of therapy areas are still growing. It should be inhalations and injectables, so to speak. So that's been our focus area as well. In fact, we have been shifting gradually from OSD, which is actually going through a lot of change, into more complex generics, which is essentially into inhalation space and complex injectables, and of course the biosimilar space itself. Insofar as the inhalation space is concerned, the drug-device combination makes it pretty difficult for a lot of people to enter, and there's a fair degree of stickiness in terms of, in fact, the pricing as well. So our prowess, was of course proven with our ability. We had Albuterol, we have Foster insofar as Europe is concerned. We had Brovana, and likewise we in fact have a lot of drugs in various stages. Some of these you just spoke about an approval. Spiriva is the other thing which is coming through and the like. Equally, we are talking about, in fact, complex injectables and the like as well. So from our perspective, the shift is certainly happening. It's moving away from OST into more complex stuff.
Mr. Swaminathan, sorry, just to pick up on Good Morning Prashant here. You said the total market is shrunk to 56 and net is about $35 billion now.
Yeah, there's a gross to net. It's about 30, 31. Yeah, you could say that. It's actually, that's essentially the gross to net chargebacks and the like.
Sorry, what is the difference between gross and net here?
No, so I'm talking about the overall size of the market, the generic 50, that was, it's actually shrunk over the last 4 to 5 years. So growth has been a little, tardy out there.
Right. No, I understand. And so it's now $35 billion, right? Opportunity.
Yes.
Total generics. And of course, you explained how.
Total generics.
Yes. Total. Yes. Some are growing. Is this pie going to grow in your opinion? Is it going to, is it continue to come off?
No, it's a question of
that talks to pricing.
Medicine, right? It's a question of affordable medicine, and to that extent, you will always find the market would, there could be, it was an Eldorado in some ways for quite some time, and today it's a bit of a drought. But it's never going to be like this forever, and of course, it's a global market. It's not necessarily only across America, the emerging markets is, of course, the European space as well. So it's actually, we need to, of course, look at our picks and see how we can actually deliver across various markets.
I just want to come back to that point you were making about Spiriva generic. You said that the company has a complete response letter or a CRL. Can you tell us this CRL is pertaining to what? What are the issues? And what is the way forward?
So our confidence levels remain pretty high on this. So we are very confident that we'll be able to answer that. We need to, of course, go back to, and which you should be doing very shortly. This would, of course, not, from our perspective, not inhibit our ability to come out, with the product by the end of this.
But is this CRL related to an inspection to the device manufacturer? Just if you can give us a little more details on that.
No, I don't think it will be possible for us to give color on this, but it's not something which will derail any of our plans, we believe.
Oh, okay. This Pithampur Unit 3, what is the inspection status there?
So that we have, in a state of preparedness insofar as Pithampur is concerned. As you would know, we just got an approval for Somerset, so where there was a warning letter for some time. We already got that for Goa. We have not had an inspection so far about Pithampur, but our confidence level for this also remains pretty high.
Earlier, you had said that you're looking at some cost-saving measures to bring down your overall cost in this challenging environment, about 500 to 750 crores. Have you managed to do that? And can you, do some more cost optimization over the course of the next few quarters?
Even at the beginning of this year, I did speak about the fact that, the first half would be a little tardy, but we'd be working on a host of initiatives to bring down the overall cost. So those measures are actually on. There have been quite a lot of, inefficiencies that have crept into the system, across supply chain. We have invested ahead of the curve. There are issues around FTS and the like. We are slowly resolving a lot of this. As you know, we also looked at some kind of footprint rationalization, workforce planning at the factory levels and so on as well. A number of these initiatives are going through, and they would, of course, see, we would bear fruit over the next several quarters, so to speak, starting from, in fact, the third and fourth quarters. The second quarter, the first quarter, of course, is what it was, and we guided for that. The second quarter, we believe, would be better than the first quarter. The third would be even better, and then it would, at some point of time, it would certainly kind of come to more acceptable levels from our EBITDA perspective.
Right. Mr. Swaminathan, you understand with the Spiriva generic being a fair bit of interest on what this can do for the overall company. In terms of margins, can it get margins back up to 20% for you?
Over the medium to long term, certainly, I think insofar as our own efforts are concerned, we'd like to look at a core EBITDA of 18 to 20%. And as in when we launch generics of the kind that you're speaking about, there would, of course, be a spike in terms of our EBITDA margins. And that would be potentially, after the third, fourth quarters for sure, after the fourth quarters.
Okay. It was great chatting with you. Thanks a lot, Mr. Swaminathan, for joining us. And all the best for the Spiriva launch. You did mention that you're looking for it to go through in its entirety by Q4. We'll be tracking that one closely. Let's do one thing. Let's take a quick break on the